God, it's been a long time since I've seen this.
Yeah, it's still the best of the best, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Original property like this, I mean, Marathon and Oni, like some people play, but not many, and this thing comes out of nowhere and just amazing.
It just does everything right, you know. Just the vehicle stuff is great. The respawning thing, that you just get off screen, your partner can come back. That's terrific. There's just enough guns, but not so many guns. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. The controls are kind of floaty. I'm not sure if it's the remake or the original is like that too. The controls are floaty to what I'm used to now, but
yeah.
But it's,
we're used to it. Snap to cover now too. But
yeah, you're right.
Halo's never done that though, right? They've never taken the snap to cover approach to any of their games.
Nah, but they have a new one coming out, right? At least they're doing Destiny and then whatever else comes out after that. We'll see.
Halo 5, whatever. Yeah.
Story will never die. The Lost Boys.
Yeah, this franchise is going on. Let's see.
Okay.
All right, let's see. First thing I wanted to talk about. Well, I did want to talk. The last thing I mentioned before we started was the infamous no co-op thing. I saw the big announcement that there's not going to be any kind of cooperative in it. That seems like a real wasted opportunity to me. Infamous as we played. Whoa! What the hell?
How'd you do that?
I just exploded for no reason.
You did.
It's really strange.
Even unrelated to anything else going on. It could have been internal or something.
Yeah, it's just self-destructive. Make sure I get this okay. So.
My controls are kind of screwed up. My car, I never stopped going forward, apparently, so...
Okay.
But Infamous Co-op, yeah, I mean, I guess it's somewhat of a wasted opportunity. The other games didn't have it at all, so I'm not sure why this was even a big deal in the first place.
Yeah, I made a big announcement, but it just seems like that's the kind of game where you probably could have cooperative without it being that big a deal, without changing gameplay too much. Like, other games, like BioShock probably wouldn't benefit too much from any kind of cooperative mode, or gosh, what else? Last of Us, those really plot-heavy games, it's not going to work. But Infamous is the kind of series where you can easily throw in a second player and it wouldn't be that big a deal.
But do it like kind of the Saints Row, Halo method, there's like a Fight Club co-op where there's a second player but it may not be there, kind of thing. And
yeah, just no one mentions them.
No one
exactly.
talks
There's
about
someone
them.
else
Yeah.
there that only you can see. But
yeah, you're right.
I mean, it just seems like that if it was had cooperative, that'd be like a must-buy. That'd be super cool to play, especially if we had different powers. If we had a cooperative mode independent of the mainstream game. That'd be really, that seems like a really good direction, easy direction for them to move into. Most of the time I hear no cooperative, that's okay. Some games really don't need it. And it's even worse when some games tag it on, like Batman with the competitive mode it has, whatever, the multiplayer modes. So those things just feel silly and kind of a last-minute tacked-on thought. But Infamous, I think there's a real opportunity there, and I don't quite get why they, first of all, didn't do it, and then also wanted to advertise they didn't do it.
Yeah, that was what I understand. Also, they took that whole, they put on Twitter, right? They posted they're not going to do it, like officially. Just stop talking about it, or what?
Maybe is that what it was? Just to kind of preempt any discussion about it, or
yeah,
we won't get any hopes up and then have it. Maybe that's why, because if people are expecting it or kind of hoping for it, don't get it, then they'll be more disappointed than if you just quash expectations early. Whatever, it seemed like a wasted opportunity to me. Like, you could really easily do co-op and Infamous and without changing too much of the gameplay. Just like you were saying, Saints Row the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. If you hadn't had the co-op mode, you and I would probably pick it up. It may be an excuse to buy a new console, but I enjoyed the other Infamous games quite a bit, even though they got kind of dense in their mythology.
I love their you can be good or evil, but if you're evil, you're going to be really evil.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fun games, and I like the comic book style, how it tells the story, and I think they're actually really solid titles. But this would have put it over the top as a no-brainer for the next gen console for us. But that is a missed opportunity. You're right. But I don't understand why we're even talking about it. Like, this should not even be a conversation we have to have. If they're not going to do it, why even talk about it in the first place?
Don't let them lock the
I
door.
mean, unless you're right, unless they just they want to squash the expectations when people get their hopes up too much.
Yeah. Hey, I killed the sword guy in there.
You killed the sword guy?
He comes back. You can kill. I'm not sure you can kill him there. He's standing right there, and I threw a grenade on him.
I underestimated the covenants under
he's back, I guess.
subsystems.
Yeah.
They've locked
He's
the door.
menacing. All right,
We don't
cool.
have
Is he
enough
back there?
firepower to get through them.
I think so.
Somebody there.
Go ahead, Cortana.
All right. So missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah, it's a game. It was really. I've seen it and saw the previews, and it really had a lot of love for it, and just the idea of it. And I like the idea of it a lot, but man, it is frustrating. Like, it's it's cute at first, in terms of how to control him, and it's supposed to be difficult, right? It's supposed to be the controls of the game. You're not supposed to play it well. It's supposed to be awkward, but it's like even silly things get awkward sometimes. Like getting to raise the tentacle is really awkward. So I'm standing there forever trying to get him to raise his tentacle and move this thing onto his shelf. And I've had to move back and forth because sometimes some things in the game respond real well to the controller. Some things are better with the mouse. So like when you have to run or move real fast, the controller's better. When you have to do something real specific, the mouse is better. So I'm switching out input devices. It's frustrating. Yeah, maybe I'm just not playing it right, but it's been really frustrating.
Well, they're describing this as like this is a genre of games I wasn't aware of, like this fumble type games. Fumblecore, yeah. Which I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really that many games that are like this, right? There's just this with that racing game or the running game that's really silly to watch. But,
well, in the surgery simulator, right?
Yeah, I do want to see that surgery simulator. This looks really darkly funny. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, I got lucky on that one, to be honest. But it was like a railing kind of shot, wasn't it?
It was.
But was it Kotaku or Joystick that made the connection between this and that old Animaniacs cartoon, like Chicken Boo, where the whole premise of the little brief skit was that there was a chicken dressed as a person and no one realized it.
Gosh, that does ring a bell to me. I totally forgot about that, though.
Yeah. You remember those from way back when, though? We were kids watching that show? Yeah. I hadn't thought about that either, but that's exactly what it is, right? It's just you're the octopus dad. There's no explanation for how you got there. You have no idea what's going on. But, and it's funny. And it's one of those things I really like the premise of it, but some of the gameplay parts are just really frustrating. It's forgiving that if you die or whatever, that you come back right away. But it's just. And it seems to realize also that some parts are really annoying because there's one part where you have to win 7 games, but there's like 10 to choose from. So the ones that are just impossible, you don't have to do if you don't want to.
Okay.
So it's a pretty forgiving game, and it has workarounds if you get to a part where you just can't handle it. There's a part, for example, you have to shoot basketballs into a basket. You have to make 6 baskets to win. And I don't know if you're supposed to do it, but I just cheated. I just I saddled up to the neck right on top of the hoop and just dropped the ball in 6 times. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not, but if that's cheating, then I appreciate them having that option in there, so I don't have to throw the ball, which is incredibly awkward to do in the game. Anyway, for $10 though, it's perfect. It's really well priced, and it is, and it's a fun. I love having these new experiences that indie games provide. So I really liked it, but I'm liking it. But I can see putting it down after a while if it just gets if the difficulty just ramps up. This is like
a 4th or 5th in a series, right?
I think there's other games out there, other
Octodad stories.
Yeah, in the Octodad series, I think that's right.
Yeah, there was a press release about this, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, and I actually tweeted, like, I didn't understand what this was, and the Octodad lead developer wrote me back on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Like, he's trying to cultivate an audience so much. Like, he's very much aware of it. It's a kind of a cult following type game.
Definitely a cult following kind of game, that's true.
That's great.
Yeah, I'd like to. If there's more of them, I'd definitely like to play more of them. I think the premise is great, and I with a good premise, and when you're not shooting people, I'm willing to give a game a lot of slack. Just for being negative. So. Yeah, well, we finished Saints Row 4 this weekend. As fun a game as that was, and it was our top game of the year for cooperative stuff. I was a little let down by the ending of the game. That it did not, it's kind of the last boss, but it's not really all that unique. You really think it's going to be kind of an explosive, really cool ending, what the Far Cry expansion pack had. What was
Blood Dragon.
Yeah, Blood Dragon. That was fantastic. I was hoping for something way over the top like that, and we really didn't get that. So I was trying to think of what games have great cooperative endings, and the one I keep coming back to is Halo, like we're playing now. The ending of this game for a cooperative game is probably the best there is, right? You get to drive out, and explosions all around you, and then different kinds of, you have the battle ahead of that where you have 4 kinds of, the Flood battling the Sparks, minions battling the Covenant, and you're in the middle of all that trying to get the forgot about these guys trying to get the things off our mind. So anyway, that's when I think of great cooperative endings. But are there other good ones too? Like when cooperative games that have the ending level is just fantastic.
You talking about the ending or the last fight? I mean, it's a tough call because most cooperative games have, like, when you say Halo, it's just a good ending in general. It's not necessarily it's a co-op thing. It's just a good ending.
Yeah, that's true. It's not very co-op specific, but yeah, either way, the co-op specific or just good cooperative games that have a good ending to them.
I think I went back and I was trying to think through, and I really can't think of a single example of a co-op ending that is meant for cooperative players. Like it's designed around that. I can't think of one. I was going back in my head to like a good final level that surprised me at the time was Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh, yeah. You think of that really? I think that was just being impossible.
Well, it's an impossible hard game, but the last level being like the LucasArts studio itself.
Oh yeah, that is fun. You're right.
Which was cool. I mean, I like the idea of that, and LucasArts was like renowned at the time, and it's a good co-op game, and that was kind of a surprising, kind of thought out conclusion of the game to have that. Games have done that since, but I think it was the first example I've seen of the game doing that.
Yeah, I think Toe Jam and Earl does that too. At the end, where you maybe the original Sega version. I think at the end you go back to their planet or stuff, and you have a level of mess around on their planet.
That's cool. I mean, I know Call of Duty did that recently, where you go to like the Call of Duty studios and one of the maps, and games continue to do that today. But I mean, Zombies was the first one I can think of that I saw.
Yeah, like a free play level at the end where you kind of have some a chance to see the developers. It's like an interactive ending, really.
Yeah. Lost Vikings had a pretty fun ending. It's kind of like Saints Row. Like
Lost Vikings is a great example. Yeah, that's terrific. The last level, you I can't imagine playing that. Do you beat that by yourself?
No, I can't recall if I did. I mean, it's incredibly hard. You're right. It's so much coordination.
It's incredibly hard. You have to coordinate so many battles. You fight that guy like 6 times, right? And you have to fight differently every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo stuff. So yeah, we were talking. I mean, everyone's talking about what Nintendo can do to save themselves, and I did some reading about it too. Everyone seems to have the same takeaways that Nintendo should be more involved with smartphones and needs to get their more games out there on portable tablets or portable devices and stuff like that.
Well, it sounds really terrible for them right now. I heard that the president's taking a 50% pay cut, and they're really kind of admitting defeat with the Wii U right now. Like they're really walking hand in hand right now at these trade shows and financial briefings and stuff like that. It's not a good scene for them at the moment.
Well, and that's dangerous. Like, you don't want to get like the stink on your system like that, right? You don't want to go out there and say, "Oh, the system's such a loser." It's like I think you want to admit that it hasn't taken off just yet, but we have plans coming up north. But if people start thinking the Wii U is just a waste of time, then no one's going to buy them. It's and the people. Someone else. This is not my thought. Someone else had this thought. But the people who have them, they feel kind of let down that if Nintendo stops supporting it, right? If then the only people who have them now are the ones who are the biggest supporters to begin with. So
they can't drop the current install base. That's a terrible idea.
They should not walk away just yet. Yeah,
the early adopters pissed them off. That's a great move strategically.
Yeah, because who's left at that point? Who you're gonna bring back in? My cool thought that I was real proud of was, which apparently someone else already had, was the idea that Nintendo might move into this whole Skylanders, Disney Infinity thing that seems to be working well for those companies, of having like action figures, I guess you can buy in real life and then import into a game or kind of an open sandbox world to play on the Wii. But I think Wii U's already doing that, or is moving towards that. They apparently announced at the trade show they're going to start adopting that technology, which may mean that they'll start selling like action figures of, I don't know, Mario or Mega Man, and you could put them into your Wii U system and play in some sandbox world.
Interesting. Well, so I mean, you're kind of just saying they should be just admit they're for kids and go that way then.
Well, I think they should have a kid library. I mean, they're already doing that kind of, right? I mean, they're big. There's like one game on the Wii that's not appropriate for kids. That's the Zombie U thing, right? Everything else is pretty kid friendly. So I think if they're gonna, is there a bazooka here anyway?
I got it. I picked it up.
So if they're doing that anyway, then why not? I mean, the Skylander stuff is something you and I never really got into at all, but it seems like it's a really big deal, right? Those things are everywhere. People they make tons of games. I guess they make a lot of money, but
I just feel like the new Pokemon kind of thing. I'm not sure it's. I don't know. It's not designed for us for sure.
Definitely not for us, but if there's a market out there for it, and if Wii is already kind of in the kid business anyway, then why not just capitalize on that and start selling? You have this stable of characters people like, Samus, and Mario, Luigi, and I don't know, maybe Kid Icarus. You could sell those, action figures and put them in their game. Then they're playing in the. If they're spending all this time making these Nintendo worlds that seem really uninteresting to me. But if you're gonna do that, why not sell a little character you can play in that Nintendo world?
All right,
So,
it's not bad. Let me give you my idea.
okay.
All right, so I think I think a couple things that they're saying is right. I think they need to get better about using the gamepad, differentiating Wii U from the Wii itself. They're not really doing that so well yet. And they're talking about the Mario Kart game doing that, being more designed for the gamepad, and using the gamepad as a virtual console for the DS, which they should have done a long time ago. I'm not sure why that's technically hard.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, why haven't they done that from the start? It should have been the DS games are playable on this console.
Yes, exactly. And this is why you need to be. It's a virtual console. DS still continues to sell. The one will make a lot of games there. Developers want to work on that console, and you can play them on Nintendo at home if you want as well. You don't have to be traveling or whatever. You can play these games. You don't have to be waiting for wandering somewhere. You can be you can play them anywhere you want. You play them at home too, and it works on the console that way. And have games designed for it. The gamepad can be used that way. This guy, I'll leave the car here.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Let's make things get easier.
But that's step one. So you do that just to differentiate yourself in the Wii itself. There is no Wii.
Well, are you saying then that you could like have the game and you could take it with you and then come home and play it at home, so you could just kind of have files moving back and forth?
Yeah, you should have a cloud infrastructure anyways. Microsoft does this. I mean, PSN does this. You should do this as well. And maybe they already do. Maybe I'm wrong, but you should do a cloud save structure that allows you to do these kinds of things. That's a no-brainer too.
Your first idea, I like it a lot.
All right.
Kind of between the DS and the pad on the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, and they're already talking about this. They're on the right track. They should be doing this from the get-go. So that's not a surprise. Idea number two, and it's something that you and I have talked about too, and we wrote about it on the blog recently. Why are they not cultivating the indie developers and why the way other studios are?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And I think here's how you do it. And they kind of one of the president said in a recent press conference, they need to get more lenient on how they license their characters out.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And so I think if you go to a developer like Rogue Legacy's Cellar Doors, who made like a Castlevania Metroid game or whatever, and tell them you want to make like a Zelda game, and we'll let you try it, and we need to be part of the process, make sure it's of a certain quality. But here you go, you can try one of our known licensed properties, make a small indie game, and see if it's any good. And go ahead.
Well, because if you're an indie developer and you want to make sure your game sells, then yeah, using characters people like, getting a shot to make. If you make a dungeon crawler you just made up, I mean, maybe they'll buy it. But if you make a dungeon crawler that's Legend of Zelda, then yeah, people will buy it.
Yeah, and you're going to kind of revolutionize your games a bit, just kind of revitalize them a bit with some creative ideas this way. I mean, again, you got to be careful about how you curate the right developers and make the right type of games for your properties, but. That's step two. Is you do this way because I think these developers, like you said, they want to be noticed, and licensed properties will allow them to be noticed. And these guys are hungry, and they're good. There's a lot of talent out there that's untapped, and they're going off and doing their own things, and you're missing out. And they'll go to other platforms where they're more welcome.
Well, and again, if you offer, that you can make our characters your protagonist in your game, and people like our characters when they play your game just to see, and I think that'd be great. Yeah. And there's so many developers now because it's so easier. It's so much easier to program games now than it's ever been. So yeah, you're right. That's exactly. They should be using their stable of characters as an advantage to draw in these developers.
Exactly, leverage to bring them in. All right, that's step two. Step three. All right, step three is you go after Valve, who has the Steam OS, who's looking for a platform to release games to the TV. They're hopeful that CE developers, consumer electronics developers, will make a platform that their OS can write on, so they can have the Steam library available on the TV. He talked to them about Dave Newell's come out and supported the PlayStation. He did that when PlayStation PS4 came out. And whatever relationship they have is fine. I don't really care about that. But they have games like Papers, Please. They have games like Gunpoint that are these critically acclaimed games that are designed for mouse and keyboard that will never work on a console controller. But they could work with the Wii U remote.
That's a good idea.
They could work with the Wii U kind of nunchuck and controller. You could play these games with those interfaces. And so you go to Steam and you tell them that you want to get to the home. I know you want to have your OS be kind of open structure and people can use whatever system they want, but we can help you get off the ground. We can help legitimize your platform, and you can have games that are approved for the Wii on Steam, or games that need a higher end system. But you could start with us. And go ahead.
So you connect Steam and Nintendo then?
Yes, connect them completely, and make sure the games some of these games that will never play on the PS3 or PS4 or Xbox are playable there. So you do that, and then what's in it for Valve? Well, you mentioned also the developer thing. We're licensing properties out to the developers to make independent games based on our properties. These games that are going to be made could be on Steam as well. There's no reason we couldn't put the Zelda game on Steam for people to download for PC or Mac too. We all share in the revenue. What's that?
You go both ways then.
You go both ways. You get you make the Wii U kind of the home for Steam for some people at home, and you get new games to the indie developers. What's that?
Where the hell is this thing? Is it back here?
It's over here.
Oh, okay.
That's it. You get indie developers, use that as bait for Valve to get their Steam properties on your game, on your system, and then and that's it. You capitalize on what you can on indie developers this next 3 or 4 years, and you save up, and you come out with a full console next time that actually has a relative advantage over the current consoles, unlike what you have right now.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good opportunity, right? The both Steam wants to get more into game system, or makes their own game system, and instead of building that whole thing, why not just merge with Wii, which needs more content, needs to attract more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like it's a real good fit.
I mean, there's a lot of movement around like I said, Valve and the PlayStation, and so I'm not sure what the commercial relationship really is there, but if you could get past that, which is a huge thing, I'm sure. But you can somehow get past that and talk about other aspects. Talk about the other aspects. Like I said, we'll give you like indie developer games we're curating right now could be on Steam as well. If you can get that set up, then that's huge.
Yeah, that's a really it's an interesting thought. I'm sure there's like logistics that be difficult to work out, but that's a really interesting thought. Cool. Okay, is that it for? Those are 3 good ideas.
Yeah, how about that? I actually took it seriously.
What was I gonna say? So. Yeah, I mean, I like the one, again, those are all 3 great, but the one I really like is the idea of licensing out their characters for indie developers. I think that's a really, really good move. That I'm an indie developer, I'm nervous about making my first game, I'm making kind of return on it. Well, if you give me a chance to make a game with your characters, then I have a much better shot of having it sell.
Yeah, and I was thinking through, like, are you going to oversaturate your properties and have terrible games made on your characters? And you can control that a bit and make sure that the right ones get made and the other ones get, dismissed. But I mean, you got to think back. I mean, there's the Game Boy Zelda game where you rescue a whale, and there's like the train one that nobody played, and they've made a lot of weird games. And so I guess I'm not really worried about them not being like big epic games. These could be small things, and just stand on their own. And then when Nintendo has the muscle power again and can release like a full-fledged great Zelda game, it won't matter. Any games that came out are insignificant compared to that.
Well, they hopefully will support each other, but I guess the danger is maybe they counteract each other. But hopefully you find that the one playing the easier, more accessible games would make people more excited about the bigger titles.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it gives more money to Nintendo just to kind of store up for next round, for next console cycle.
I'd like to play a Sim City kind of game, but as Princess Peach. As you running the Mushroom Kingdom, and you have resources to devote to different kind of causes, and you can decide where you want to invest in, and you have to build these different kingdoms that Mario's always running through and stuff, and deal with Bowser every now and then. I think that'd be a really fun simulator. Is this Princess Peach RPG where you have to run the Mushroom Kingdom? That'd be super fun.
You gotta give some layers to her, yeah. That'd be
interesting. More than just getting kidnapped all the time, but actual administration of the Mushroom Kingdom would be. There's a lot of interesting things there. Raise taxes on people.
Like Papers, Please. It'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. Immigration to the Mushroom.
That's great.
This guy's obviously Bowser in a Mushroom Kingdom mask. Did I just kill you? I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I don't know if you did or not.